you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Like, this might be hell on earth. Like, it's genuinely crazy.
It was just really sad watching like this person's house burn down, and all they could do was save the memories. Any future firefighters up there?
If you're consistently good at your job, you're gonna do it. Yeah, I just want to send out my good vibes to the people that are out, fighting the wildland fires up in Los Angeles area and all over through California and the United States.
Welcome to ValleyVibeZ, a show created by Spartan Sound Productions. We are your hosts, Dom,
Felipe?
Evan, and Matt.
So today's topic is kind of a harsh one.
It's a sensitive topic.
Yeah, very. It's actually pretty close to us. It's about the LA fires. So.
Yeah. And first and foremost, I just want to send my prayers to anyone out there that had to suffer. But hopefully, anyone there can make it out safe and sound. Because it's a pretty honestly, I think it's like in my lifetime, it's one of the worst fires that we've had here in California.
Definitely.
And all the firefighters in the fire, we send the prayers to them. We hope they come out alive and well.
Right.
Doing miracles out there.
Yeah.
Genuinely, because these there's 3 different fires, these huge ones, and it's taking down everything. Genuinely, it's like at first I thought it would just be forest fires, but it genuinely spread into the houses, and that's when I started seeing more news about it. And I'm just watching all these houses come down, like even these like celebrity houses. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about that.
I've heard like predictions are like 40 billion in damages, which is one of the biggest
that's huge. And to be honest, I don't know the casualty count, but hopefully it's low, and hopefully
it remains low.
Yeah.
And I mean this really all happened at a very bad time, because around this time of the year is when the winds start to pick up really fast.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's why they all spread in the first place.
They actually still don't know the real reason, but some people have theorized that it was this can of something and fire. And actually there was this video that I saw where this guy was trying to start another fire. I don't know. Like, people are crazy out there.
And have you heard there's no water in the fire hydrant?
Yeah, actually,
they cut the water. I want to say a few days, maybe a week prior to this fire happening. They cut the water lines. And they just don't have enough water, and the support firefighters, they don't have enough.
There's not enough firefighters out there. We're actually sending firefighters from down here, in our valley, especially from Hopeville, because a lot of our Hopeville firefighters, they have contracts with LA, so they're being sent up there, which is crazy that they even need to reinforce it like that. And the fire department has talked about how the city of LA basically failed the whole fire department because they were putting money into all these other things instead of the actual things that are needed, for the fire. And now look what's happening.
Wow, that's tragic. Traffic is another thing that is in the way. I heard that people would be leaving their cars, and then so that's ruining everything.
Yeah, because cars are combustible. They're engines.
Explode,
Yeah,
Make
could get bad.
Worse.
And this is affecting so much more than LA. It's affecting the whole state of California.
Yeah,
and
it
even
really
more.
Because it also just from the fire, the pollutants coming from the fire, it's crazy.
And it's coming down to us. I don't know if you've seen the sky recently, but you can, if from the mountain ranges, you can see all that smoke, all that smog. It's just coming down here.
You can tell, yeah. And especially with these winds, we were just talking about that. But I was checking the air quality the other day, and usually the air quality here is moderate, and it's pretty moderate, but recently it just skyrocketed really bad. The air
it's very bad air quality.
Yeah, and I'm guessing the number one reason is those fires. It has to be. There's just crazy amounts of smoke coming from it, and it's just bad. Genuinely.
It's again, it's just what's going on here is very tragic. And again, prayers to those people. Obviously, this is it's so tragic to think about this because first of all, housing in LA is expensive.
It's already expensive, and this is just gonna make it even crazier.
And like, have you thought about all the homeless? Because in LA, there's so much homeless people. There's
one of the highest.
There's
homeless
like such a difference between like rich people and homeless people. Like I've seen, I went to LA like 2 weeks ago, and like there's like a bunch of rich people like walking in their like luxurious like cars, and then you go across the street, you see a bunch of homeless people like who have like bad stuff.
Like I don't know if any of you guys ever been to Santa Monica.
Yes.
I was just walking down the pier and I actually got threatened by this homeless guy with the little key, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna stab you," and I was like, "What the hell?" I just walked away. But like, there's just a lot of homeless.
Homeless, God knows where they're populating
really
now.
Makes you think what's happening with them, because like it's not like they got anywhere to go. Like it sucks.
And it's only gonna increase the homeless population because so many people that are like middle class or working class,
they're not gonna be able to recover from this.
Yeah, some people were genuinely living paycheck to paycheck down in LA. It's living there is quite expensive.
Yeah,
and like I couldn't imagine like working your whole life to get a house, like $1 million house. They're all like $1 million or above.
Yeah,
like getting over to that and then just let it burn down. Watching that happen right in front of you guys, like it must be so tragic. And
just the rate that it's spreading at too is just crazy.
Yes,
like,
again,
we can't even contain it. Like I think last time I checked, it was barely just 14% contained. Like Palisades. Palisades fire was like 14% contained, and I was just amazed that it could get this bad. Like never before have I experienced a fire like this so close to me, you know?
Yeah. And again, like without the water, without the resources, like without the water or the firefighters, the support, like it's making this way harder than it should be. Like they've had to resort, I'm pretty sure they've had to resort to like seawater, like the ocean waters. And I mean that, like ocean water is bad for the environment too. You have to think all the salts, the salt, like it's corrosive towards the environment.
Yeah, the shit stay in the ocean coming out of it. It's bad.
Yeah, and like even like you said, like we don't have like the foundations to cover the fire. Like the firefighters from here are coming over there.
Yeah, there's just a shortage of firefighters, which is actually gonna increase the pay probably for firefighters in these upcoming years because of this. So, any future firefighters up there?
Well, don't you want to be a firefighter?
I do want to be a firefighter. This upcoming, I think it's fall. I'm gonna start the fire academy over there in IVC, and I'm pretty ready for that. I wish I was there now to help these people in LA, because it's just tragic, genuinely. Like seeing this much. Like I was watching these other firefighters. Like there wasn't much they could do, so the most they did was like bring memories and like things out of houses, and it was on the news. It was just really sad watching like this person's house burn down, and all they could do was save the memories. But like it's the best they could do. Like they don't have
there's just not enough resources to like actually help each other out.
Especially they're so spread out too. I'm looking here at a little map of it. I can show you guys. They're actually pretty spread out, so that must make it even more difficult.
Yeah, like like all these points, like they're also spread out. Like there's not enough to like just like spread out evenly and like help the fires like get extinguished.
Yeah, and I know that where the Hollywood sign is it's a natural reservation. No, it's like something like that.
I'm pretty sure.
Like, do you guys think it'll reach like the Hollywood sign?
Apparently, it already did, but like it didn't get to the sign.
To the sign, but
like it reached the mountain range.
Oh.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, it's really crazy. And, I mean, God knows how far it will spread out, because, like, I mean, if you think about it, this fire just started.
Really? Yeah, it was like out of nowhere. It was like the beginning of the year, just straight off the bat it came. Like,
and it like affected so much, like so fast. Like you said, it was just like a little fire, and then it started affecting everything.
Yeah, the wind really picked it up.
Yeah, I think they say that like per minute, it's like 2-3 football fields that they're traveling. The fire, it's insane. It's insane.
That is, I did not know that. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's spreading very fast, and people. I don't think like people people that don't live around here, they don't realize.
They're not understanding the full gravity of the situation. Genuinely.
Like we don't live there, but I mean, it's just so close to home.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Like you're like, we're seeing this firsthand. We're seeing all our firefighters from the Imperial Valley. We're seeing everything. And they're bringing people from other countries to like extinguish the fire.
Are they?
Yeah,
Mexico.
From Meg.
Oh, actually,
from
didn't
Mexico.
know that either.
Yeah, they're bringing people down from other countries, like on airplanes, to stop the fires.
Do as
and
much as they can.
yeah, and what's it called? And I've seen recently there was this case where this guy decided it was a good idea to fly a drone, like one of those those recreational drones.
Oh yeah.
To capture like videos of what was going on.
Yeah.
And a plane hit the drone, and it left the plane out of service.
Actually?
So like, and this has been all over Twitter. The guy who's recording, his name is Kit Carson. The guy was basically flying his drone out while the fires were happening, and the drone hit a plane, like it hit like the right wing or something. So it left it out of commission, and it won't be back. And I think it just came back.
Did they land it safely though? The
I'm pretty sure they did, but like people, like
yeah,
if
just stay away from it. Genuinely evacuate. Do what you can and just
because there's not like much left. Like the best you can do is stay safe from it. Stay away from it.
Like let the professionals do what they have to do and stay out of the way.
It makes you think like how much like living in LA is gonna cost now, because living there is expensive, and no houses are gonna be built. So like new houses are gonna be much more expensive. Like they can raise the prices.
Yeah,
all the renters
insurance companies.
Insurance are gonna. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so run for their buck. Yeah.
Yeah, the insurance is it skyrocketed within a day.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like there's just so much stuff going on.
The thing about LA houses is that they're built of wood because it's of course cheaper. They're usually built of wood because they're cheaper and it's like faster. But you'll see houses like down here in the valley be built more of concrete, and that's because of earthquakes.
Yeah.
And so it keeps it safest from earthquakes. So it wouldn't spread as fast. But since they're made of wood, it's like letting everything really just. It's just like it's all coming together in the worst way possible, like winds, different fires,
the water getting cut off.
Everything
is just adding up. And
it really is.
And like, I know some of you guys may not be religious, but like I feel like this is like a glimpse of like what hell.
Yeah.
Like this might be hell on earth. Like it's genuinely crazy.
Yeah, genuinely looks like an apocalypse out there. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Like especially with like all the bad things that happen in Hollywood, like all celebrities that like do bad stuff. Like it makes you think like, was this? I don't know.
Is this all just a coincidence?
Yeah.
I hope it's all just like I hope no one set this up. I hope this is just, and I hope this gets contained soon. Genuinely, again,
just
praying
prayers out there for everybody. Stay safe. Genuinely, stay safe and do what you can from afar to help these fires. Donate money, donate foods. If you see any like charities, make sure to try your best to do what you can, because genuinely, who knows what these people are like? Who knows what's going through their mind? So let's just do what we can to fix this. Try to get this done for.
Of course.
But that's gonna conclude our segment on the LA fires and the ValleyVibeZ podcast. So. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Thank you very much.
Have a good one. Thank you for it.
I'm Dom, and we're back to talk about the LA fires and firefighting in general. We have brought back a special guest, a former Calexico fire captain, Ernesto Avila, to share his career and thoughts on the topic. Welcome to ValleyVibeZ, a Spartan Sound production. I'm your host, Dom.
Evan.
And this is?
Ernesto Avila, fire captain, retired, Calexico Fire Department. And you can call me Captain E if you like.
All right. Thank you so much, Captain E. So we're going to have some simple questions about like your duty, like how was your time? Like, so however you want to start, we could start like your first call, anything.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for inviting me here.
Thank you so much for being here.
this is the first time I do a podcast, so hopefully everything will come out okay. I give you guys a lot of credit for what you do in the school. You know that you have the initiative to do something a little different than from what I've seen. And hopefully we can leave this podcast and leave people here with the impression that we're going to do something useful for them. Okay. And I appreciate being here.
No, thank you for your time. I know it's.
Secondly, I just want to send out my my good vibes to the people that are out, fighting the wildland fires up in Los Angeles area and all over through California and the United States, not only just here. Right. I want to let them know that I'm thinking of them as is everybody else is thinking of them. Hopefully they will be able to, finish the job and come home safely. I understand there's been some fatalities, and I just hope, like I said again, I'm sincere and my solemn support for them, and I just hope they come back, safe, and not just the brave firefighters, men and women, but also the other agencies that are out there helping. Like the law enforcement, other agencies that go out there and help make things better for these firefighters who are out there working, without any type of what I guess I'm trying to say, they don't want the acknowledgement. They know what they signed up for, and they're going to go out there and try to do the best they can to make sure that we live. That's what we want. When they ask me what to do, I just want people to live. And that also includes animals. If you don't know, there's a lot of wildlife, there's a lot of animals out there, that live around the areas that are being also harmed, and some are being saved. I know because I've been to several fires where we've had to, save animals out there, and they want to live just like everybody else.
Exactly.
You can tell, you can see. They might not be able to tell you, but you can see it in their eyes.
We're all on the same earth, all working together.
So again, I just want to solemnly say that I support the guys that are out there, and I just hope they come back safe and sound to be with their families. Okay. If I do get a little emotional, maybe give me a little tap on the shoulder, bring me back. It's all right. All right. Thank you. So you said you wanted to know a little bit about what I
what you did, how you.
Well, going back, I started in 1977 I was out of the military, and I was working at a little liquor store in Calexico where I saw the ad that Calexico was hiring for firefighters, and I went and applied, and I did the physical, and I just gotten out of the military, so I was in pretty good shape, so I came in first. And when I was doing my interview, the fire chief, his name is Froilan Pedrosa, he was like a second dad to me. Yeah, and he asked me if I had any firefighter experience. I told him I did, and he kind of perked up, and he came to I got his attention, and I told him when I was in the Navy, I put out they call them the walls, they call them bulkhead, put out a couple of bulkhead fires, and I got a little award for those. And he liked that, so he says, okay, we're going to hire you. You're going to be a probationary firefighter for 3 years. That means 6 months, you'll take a test and physical and a written test. And 1 year, same thing. 2 years, same thing. 3 years, same thing, a probationary firefighter. And he goes, if you fail any one of those, we're going to have to let you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was that at stake?
Yeah, we all had to pass. All the guys who went there, they always had to pass with a minimum of 80%, whatever it was, whatever phase you were going through, So I just said, okay, I'll do it. And I was, studied hard. After 3 years, became a firefighter. And I remember him telling me, you know what you're going to do as a probationary firefighter? I go, well, I guess I'm going to go out in fires. Yeah, that and the ambulance, but you're also going to be a glorified janitor. So you're going to be mopping and sweeping, throwing out the trash, bringing out whatever it takes. I go, whatever it takes, Chief. Whatever it takes. And he gave me my opportunity to make a career in the fire.
Well, more about that. So did you also have to study for like being an EMT? Like the medical things? Like did you guys have to go through all that too? Was that also in there?
Yes. EMT courses was required for us. Yeah. Along with firefighting classes, which we took at IBC and other places here in the state. We go to other parts like in San Diego County, Riverside County, Sacramento. Whatever classes were offered, we would take those classes to advance, and then we'd take an EMT class, which I would tell the people here that are listening that if they plan on being a firefighter, which back in my day they were firemen, take the EMT or take a paramedic course first.
Oh, really?
Because that takes about a year or two, maybe. If you start young, you can take an EMT class, wait a year, and then take a paramedic class. After 2 years, you'll be a medic. And if you want to get in the fire service, I think that's the way to go because you can learn how to be a firefighter a lot faster than you can learn to be a medic.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that are in line to be firefighters, it's going to take them longer to get hired.
Yeah.
But if you become a paramedic, you're more likely to jump right in front of the line because medics are needed more than firefighters. You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So you can actually be a full-fledged paramedic firefighter within 3 year time. If you're 18, by the time you're 21, you got a career.
Yeah.
It's not just a job, like they say. It's a career.
It's set,
and it's a promising career, and it's fulfilling. And that's what you want to do. But first of all, you have to want to be competitive. You want to have to serve the public. You're going to have to get up in the middle of the night, 2, 3, 4, 5, and don't complain. You might not like it, but it's the job you chose.
Yeah.
And you got to do it the best you can to your ability every time you go out. When you come back, that ambulance, that fire engine has to be maintained and serviced and put at 100% capacity. Because like I used to tell the guys, because the next person that needs our help deserves the best we got. You can't leave there with a half a tank of water or low on equipment or medical supplies. Everything got to be full because you don't know when you're going to need all that.
Yeah.
You got to have a tank full of fuel because that tank's got to be ready to go for 24 hours at least if you can't get any fuel. If they send you out somewhere, you're on your own, that engine has to be running for at least 24 hours. So you want it full
straight
whenever you go. And we never used to let our engines get, the fire engines get below 3/4 of a tank. We go and top it off. Top it off because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, always ready.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about being a firefighter. You can't be perfect. It's not a perfect job, but like I always try to be, we got to be consistent.
Yeah, of course.
Like they tell you, you have to average 80%. If you're consistently good at your job, you're going to do it. Sometimes it comes out perfect. Sometimes it doesn't. But as long as you accomplish what you got to do, sometimes good enough is good enough. And so when I first started there, I remember the first fire that I went to was a structure fire. And those were the days where the firefighters used to ride in the back of the tailboard.
Oh, like holding on to
you hold on.
Oh, like in the cartoons.
Yeah, we used to hold on back there. And they say, well, just hold on, and then just bend your knees. And we'd throw our breathing apparatus on top of the hose bed, and we'd be putting it out en route to the fire.
Wow, that sounds difficult. Very difficult.
But they always said one hand for the fire engine, one for you. So you have to switch hands when you're strapping up and all that.
Yeah.
I still remember seeing the column of smoke going up, and I was a little kid that started the fire, and half the house burned down. But that's when I first got my first introduction to it.
Yeah.
And I was hooked afterwards, and I stayed there for a little bit, and then I tested for a fire engineer, driving the engines, and then I tested for a fire captain, which I became a fire captain.
Yeah, is that how you moved up the ranks?
You got to move up the ranks, like you said.
Slowly.
Paramedic class, I wanted to take it, but something happened along the way that I was given a choice of whether to continue that or help out, and I decided to help out. It was a family situation. I helped out my dad, and I don't regret that. And by the time everything was settled there, I figured, well, you know what, paramedic class is going to have to go by the wayside because I'm getting at an age now where I want to become a fire captain.
Yeah.
So I went that route instead. And so I was there for about 33 years. Wow. Calexico Fire Department, and worked with some of the best men that can work at a fire service. Guys were selfless. They gave everything they had.
They were ready to give
help.
it all up. Yeah.
For the most part, I can say that the guys there were there for a reason, and to be a public servant. That's what we have to. That's what you want to have to
the mentality.
be. And the first thing also, you have to have that personality to want to help. If you can think back of when you're a little kid, you helped somebody in a situation like that. Maybe that's the way your personality is, and that'll help you go a long way in the fire service because those people will call you for. Firefighter. Everybody loves firefighters. They know. I don't know about other agencies, but when they see a fireman, they know we're there to help.
Yeah.
Right? And so I stayed there, and in between all the fire house calls that I went on, fire structure fires, traffic collisions, hazmat, medical calls. In between all those years, we went on a lot of strike teams, which consist of 5 fire engines, four firefighters in each engine, and then you have a fire chief with his driver that leads us out there. That's what they have now. But I remember back in the day when we first started, we didn't have strike teams. They just sent a guy with 3 guys on a fire engine, go help out, and then stay out there till the fire was put out, or else they relieved you. You came back, and they didn't even have names. Now they give them names. The fire. We went out there. The wildfires didn't have a name.
Yeah, they were just a fire.
Yeah. Go out there and you find fire. Flames are 100, 150 feet up.
Yeah,
depending on the trees and the brush and all that. And and most of the time though, we not only did wildland firefighting, we also went out and relieved the companies that were out fighting the fires. The cities that were out there. We would go to their departments and run calls for them while they were out there. Yeah, out there putting out fires.
I actually didn't know.
Yeah, they would have a guy guide us to different structure fires, traffic collisions, and that was because the fire season back in the day, which I'm talking the 70s and early 80s, was basically summer. By the time September, October rolled around, the fire season was basically over.
Yeah,
and now for other reasons, the fire season is year long, and some of the reasons are climate change. Some of the reasons are money, financial. Some of the reasons are people moving further out, beyond the suburbs,
exploring more,
out into the mountainous areas. And a lot of it is lack of maintenance. That the property owners, they don't perform that maintenance on their own property.
Like fires?
They recommend you clear all your brush 50 feet away, but I would say maybe 100 feet because, when those, we call them devil winds, when those winds, Santa Ana winds, when they start coming towards you, they can generate hurricane-like winds. Like I said, I've been to a lot of fires that have been wildfires. 2 in particular come to mind is, the first one of them is the Cedar Fire, which we were called on. I think that was in 2000, over 20 years ago.
2005?
Yeah, 2003 or something like that.
All right.
I can't really recall the dates, but I remember driving up there and seeing the large columns of smoke. And when we got to the base camp, they told us that 4 firefighters had been injured. One of them was a fatality. They started a backfire when they weren't aware of. A backfire is when you start a fire with that. So that you could eliminate that hazard, it goes up the hill, and these guys weren't told about it, and they were overcome by smoke and flame. And so we were already on the alert.
You're already on edge,
going out there, and we were stationed over in El Cajon, which was about 25 miles from the fire, to go rehabilitate there and then go back out. It was 24-hour shifts. The one that sticks to mind is the Witch Creek fire. For me, that one we left in the middle of the night here, and we were en route. The winds were really heavy, and we got to the casino up there on the mountain. And it was so we refueled, kept going, and I remember this wind gust came right towards our engine, and it blasted against the window of our fire engine. And all this rock and sand hit the window, and it cracked the window.
Oh, really?
And I looked at the engineer, and I, with a few not so nice words, I said, "What happened?"
Yeah,
Well, he asked me. I'm sorry. He asked me what happened, and I said, "I don't know." But here comes another one. Boom! Another one hit us. And it cracked some more window.
That's actually.
And so we could have turned back, but I told the guys, "You guys, if we turn back, everybody's got to go. There's 5 engines, right?"
Yeah.
And we decided to keep going. So we
for a reason,
we just kept going. Went up the state highway, I think 67 or 78, one of those. You could see trees burning on the roads.
Yeah.
And we were going back and forth, swerving back and forth, getting up there. And we finally made it to this area near Ramona. And there was little mountains there. People have their little houses up there on the hills.
Yeah.
And there was 5 fire engines, and we were there. And I remember the chief asking, well, I want somebody to get up there on that hill and protect that house up there. And I said, who wants to volunteer? I went, Calexico. First one.
There you go.
Let's get going because
Some
you know
heart,
what?
yeah.
Let's go first because you don't know what's going to happen afterwards. And plus,
Exactly.
I wasn't going to just not say no. So go up there. We went up, and as I was parked on the foothill, I told the guy, stay here. I'm going to go up there and check. And you got to imagine the winds are going. You got the fire,
it's a rush.
devil winds and the noise and, in the middle of the night. And you're trying to climb up that hill. And one of the guys tapped me on the shoulder. And I said, hey, man, you got to get down there, man. He goes, no, Cap, you go, we go. And he gave me that, So I said, all right, let's go. So we went up there. As we were going up there, I saw the water tank, which is below the house. We got to the house, did a little walkabout. And so then I called the fire engine up. And he had a snake all the way up in reverse. I told him, come up in reverse in case we have to get out. Get out real fast. He did that. And the 2 guys were there. We were all there. And I took the rookie with me, and I told the guys that have experience. I told them, well, we're going to do walkabouts. And there was no water. We couldn't get water from the water tank because it's below the
whole house. Yeah.
You have to have a pump to get through there. Yeah. And even if we opened it up, the gravity is only going to allow you so much.
Yeah.
And who knows if the tank was full or half full or whatever. And we weren't going to mess around in the middle of the night and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
So we just parked there, and I said, okay.
Think quickly, yeah. All right,
it's very competitive.
We have another guest joining us here.
My name is Matthew. I was on the last podcast.
So do you have any questions for him, to start with?
Like the feeling of adrenaline is so strong. When does it wear off?
Adrenaline wears off according to the calls that you go on. There's some that we get into a situation where that we know that we're in danger, but you have to keep your composure. It's kind of like, it's kind of compared to a duck in water. On the top, he looks calm, but underneath, he's paddling like crazy.
Yeah.
So inside, you might do it, but you have to show your composure because you don't want panicked people.
Yeah.
One thing I tell my kids, or when I was growing up, and my wife too, and when you see me panic, don't panic until you see me panic. Right? Whenever, I remember the earthquakes and all that stuff that happened.
Oh, like the East.
Yeah, you got to stay calm as much as you think that things aren't going to turn out. And so that's where the adrenaline kicks in. And sometimes the adrenaline is such where you do a great job, you feel like, you feel exhilarated.
You get completely,
and the guys, everybody did great, and afterwards you're all around talking about it, everybody's laughing and giggling, having a good time. And there's times it doesn't turn out that well, where the adrenaline kind of drains out of you, and you don't really want to talk about the incident until afterwards. And there's times where an incident happens and you don't know how you got out of that situation, and you don't have to say anything. You just look at each other and like,
glad to be alive, yeah.
You just look at each other and you just have that look, that 1,000-mile stare or whatever. And you know what you went through, and you don't really have to talk about it, but you know that that adrenaline has kicked in, But but what I was getting at the Witch Creek fire, when we were up there, I was telling the guys, we're up here. I was, basically yelling, and we have this house that we have to protect. We can't get any water from the water tank. Everything's out. There's other houses burning all around. You can see the hills burning. I said, but our house is not going to burn. We're going to protect this one. I said, I'm going to take the rookie and the other 2 guys. We're going to do walkabouts. Take a shovel with you. See any embers, anything hit in the eaves or the brush or anything like that, just put it out. Come back around. And we had this little area that was kind of secure from the wind that we would, like there in the houses, the way they were built. So we would stay there. And so we'd come around, and then the other 2 guys would go around. And we were doing that, just about all night.
Continuously?
Yeah, and so when I was walking, I remember seeing, looking out on one of the hills and one of the houses, it was completely engulfed in flames. And there was I don't know what size it was, but it must have been 1,000 or 5,000 gallon propane tank.
Holy.
That just blew. It just went white hot. Boom, just went off. It blevied. I don't know if you guys know what blevied is. It's boiling liquid, expanding vapor explosion. you got
Wow, it's a big word.
this is a container, right?
Yeah.
Say this bottle of water is a container full of LPG or natural gas, and if it's full, and the fire's hitting it underneath, if it's being if there's fire underneath it, if it's full like this, you call it's too rich. It's not gonna affect it. It's not gonna blow up.
Yeah.
And if it's not enough water or not enough fuel in there, it'll affect it, but it'll fracture and it'll just bleed out, just burn right here. But if it's just right, if it's just in the middle or so, that fire will impinge on the vessel, and it'll start to expand. The liquid inside boiling. It'll start boiling. It'll start expanding. Boiling liquid. Boiling, expanding. I forgot. Blevy. BLEV. And it'll start expanding to the point where it expands so much it has to relieve itself.
Yeah,
right?
it gotta go somewhere.
So that's when it explodes.
It bursts, yeah.
So I see several of those tanks exploding. It wasn't full. It wasn't empty, but it's just right.
Just right.
To cause that explosion. And that's what gives you that incentive, initiative to say, not today for us.
Yeah.
Today, this house, we're going to say, and we saved that house, and there's other places we did, It's just a determination. It's kind of you against the natural elements.
Yeah.
And, you're going to do the best you can, but we still had an escape plan. In case something happens, this is where we're going to go out.
Yeah.
And, so I really was proud of the work that the guys did. We were out there for 3 days, and our engineer, 3 straight days, our engineer didn't sleep at all. And the guys... Yeah, they lost us because they were supposed to relieve us at 24 hours, and they forgot us. So we weren't relieved, but we didn't care. We were out there fighting fires and stuff like that, and the guys that were there with me, man, they didn't. There was no let up. We just kept going. And we must have used every single piece of equipment on that fire engine that day. We have a inch line, inch and a half line, 2.5, 4 inch. The tools that we use. That fire that we were there. I got to say that I'll never forget that one. I think we used every piece of equipment that we had. Yeah. Go ahead. So I like to say something about the LA fires. I've been seeing. I don't really keep up with the news and all that because it's a bunch of opinions of people that really don't know what's going on. I'd rather listen to a firefighter talk about it, or somebody that's been there. But there's a lot of things that affect that. Climate change being one. The lack of maintenance being another one. And I really felt bad for the people in Lahaina when that happened because the power lines were being maintained the way they should have, and the arcing started all that brush around them on fire. And then the winds kicked up, and it devastated all the town of Lahaina. And I really felt bad for that because my family and I we vacation in Lahaina and Kaanapali just about every year. When the kids were little, I bought a timeshare there, so we go there every year for a couple of weeks. And seeing that town last year was really devastating. I mean, the whole thing just burnt down except for one little building. And I made a point that at the resort, I volunteered to help at a couple of camps where the elderly were staying, and there had little makeshift markets that they would go and get food and supplies and stuff like that. So I went out there and helped the aunties and the uncles carry their supplies. That's what we call them. Yeah. Very dignified people. They didn't want the help. They said, no, but you have to ask them like they're doing you a favor. Right. And I took my first aid stuff like my BP cuff, and when I set up a little stand, I started taking vital signs to them. They didn't want to at first, but afterwards they were coming over, and I did that because it made me feel good. But not only that, I go back to the resort and maybe have a beverage and feel like I accomplished something. Feel good about that. The requirements. Yeah. So the alley fires, other things that happen to them, like not just lack of maintenance. It's also people moving up in the areas where there's less protection and prevention for them. And expecting the federal government to protect them from federal land. They're national parks. They're not privately owned. And some of these houses that burn are privately owned, partly because of lack of maintenance and the winds and the climate change. There's a lot of factors. There lack of money. Sometimes they transfer the money elsewhere where they think it's fit. Not everybody's happy about that, but that's what we got to live with. So there's a lot of factors that are involved in the fires.
As a firefighter, do you think LA failed the firefighters over there? You think? they did a bad job, like how they handle situation at first?
First of all, like I said before, I support the firefighters no matter where they're from. You know, and they're going to go out there regardless of what they have, you know, with the resources they have, and do the very best that they can. Now, if the powers that be decide that they want to do something different, it's on them. I don't know if it's so much of a failure. It's a decision that they make, you know, and I think sometimes it has to be a combination of everything. You know, people live on private land and they move up there, up to the mountain areas, and they don't maintain their property, which is say you should have at least 50 to 100 feet of clearance. They forget to do that. Now, the hydrants might not be properly maintained, especially the private ones. You know, the hydrants can only give so much because everything has to work with electricity and power. You know, all the generators, all the pumps that go through there. And once those go down, no electricity. That's what happened in Lahaina. All the water plants there broke down. They couldn't generate any water, go through the hydrants. So how are you going to get water there? You know, it's all static now. You know, it's not going to go anywhere. So it has to. There's a lot of factors that are involved as far as you know, putting the blame on somebody. You know? And we as firefighters, we don't like to put the blame. We like to mitigate the problem and then do an overhaul, and then not assign blame, but like decide like this is what we can do next time, or this is what we can't do. You know, and I think people have to be involved more. Public's got to be involved more. They have to do their part, you know, to make sure that their property is maintained well. And so does the state government and federal government. You got to understand that. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a high percentage that owns the national park in California. I think it's in California. It's like 60 to 70% of that is federal land. Yeah. So it's the federal dollars that have to come in and help maintain the property, because people are living out there in the area that's not being maintained, and they're not maintaining their homes either. So there's a disaster waiting to happen. So you're putting it's a culmination of everybody, not to blame, but everybody doing their part best and see what happens. Because nobody really, I think, a lot of people don't really think about disasters as far as mitigating until it happens. We used to have a councilman who used to tell us way back in the day that, why do you guys need a defibrillator for? You know, it's the thing that, you know, they shock people for they have a heart attack until he got a heart attack. And then we got a defibrillator.
There you go.
You know, it has to be a personal thing in order for something to happen. You know. Anyway, was I going back on the? Well,
no, you answered it perfectly. But thank you so much for coming on here and talking to us. Like, really appreciate it. And thank you for all your service. Thank you for everything.
Well, you know, thank you for your support. And like I said,
all your advice that you gave us.
Yes,
very thankful.
Very wise.
Yeah, if you ever do need any advice, just, you know, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of firefighters out there that what I really like about the Calexico Fire Department, a lot of firefighters that started there are chiefs, fire chiefs. You know, and they're great. You see them. That one of them was the city manager here at Central. Oh, yeah, and you know, I see them how much they've progressed. You know, and being fire chiefs and chiefs at other cities, not just Calexico. They got to start little Calexico. You know, I'm kind of proud of that, seeing them out there succeeding in other places. You know, so it doesn't matter where you start. You know,
that will conclude our segment. Thank you so much again.
I want to thank you guys too for what you do. Like I said before, you guys deserve a lot of credit. What you do, you guys are doing something that's very useful for the school, and continue on. Because you know, I just met you guys, and I'm really feeling proud of you guys. You know, so don't let anything hold you back. Yeah, you know, appreciate what you do. And as far as supporting the firefighters, I don't know about administratively wise, but the guys that are out there in the field, they're not thinking about that so much as they're thinking about saving lives and property and the environment. Once the thing is done, then they can figure out how we can get better at it. You know, so let's give our support and thanks to them, and also the people that aren't firefighters, other agencies, law enforcement, and so on. Everyone. And there's a lot of animals that they help out too, like the dogs that go out there and look for people and stuff like that. They train them. And there's a lot of people out there that have shelters for animals that they leave behind, you know, that they take care of, you know, all kinds of wildlife animals. You know. Anyway, thanks guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Our conversation with Captain E ran long enough that we want to share all of it with you. So tune in next week for a continuation of this episode.
This program was produced and brought to you by Spartan Sound Productions. Thanks to our special guest, former Calexico Fire Captain Ernesto Avila, Spartan Sound Production students Matthew Vasquez Leyva, Evan Harper, Felipe Castro, and Dominic Ramos. Thanks also to Dr. Thomas Tacky, creative and executive producer of Spartan Sound Productions, the administration of Central Union High School, Mr. Javier Fimbres, and Power 98 for hosting us, and to you, the listeners.